Alrighty, welcome to a suggestion box bonus track. So I think I'm putting this one on a bonus track for Rudolph suggestion box. Oh yeah. Now listen, I know people say in our country, we're American, right? If we happen to be, like, I'm an American, okay? So don't hate me just because I happen to be born, like, and I have this passport and everything. I said I was American, like, I even know I am, like, of jury duty and all kinds of things, right, Mr. Floridian senator or whatever. Anyway, so I know I'm a citizen. But what bothers me is that nobody takes it to heart. You can go on the news right now. Let's say, the New York Times, the New York Post, or like the news, or like just any news, right? Apple News, any news, right? But particularly some of them. And if you just look, any given stories, let alone right on up till today, there are way too many stories of people being hurt or killed or threatened or whatever on all sides of the political spectrum. Like, it's not even political or necessarily anti-Semitic or anti-this, it's just a du jour, right? But we have a separation of church and state, and we believe that Lady Justice is blind. For a reason. She doesn't know if you're black or a woman or a man, right? She's supposed to you're a citizen, and let's hear the fact, right? So why haven't anyone, I don't care if it's Inspector Spector or, Uncle Gadget, right? Or, Uncle, President Obama, or President Trump, or this guy, or that guy, right? No one helps Biden. Blinken don't do it. These people don't do it. Nobody does it. They want to blame him. They don't like him. I second that. But I don't hate him. I say, that's a little unfair. He's kind of old. I bet he didn't do stuff that happened, like, right before he was president, even though he was a senator for his whole freaking career. And I don't think, I'm not as concerned with the feelings of a 85-year-old diaper man, like, career politician, or even the, like, impeach 45 one, or like this one or that one with the insider trading. And lo and behold, despite the senator salary and whatever, like, they go from, like, owning this much wealth to, like, all that wealth, and they can do insider trade. It's not what it is. I mean, I don't. Our spouse made the trade. Spiegel. Okay. So, here's a suggestion box. 3 minutes into let's hope a 6 or 7 minute recording. Anyone at all, but especially if you have any clout over, the White House and the, like, executive branch, especially if wait a minute, that is us. Oh, okay, well then I'm talking to you, Sherlock. Let alone anyone who pulls your strings, Sherlock. Here's what you need to do. For the sake of peace, and no, I didn't think of it first. I don't think this recording exists anywhere in public, and you certainly can't hear it, right? I mean, certainly not tonight. I mean, even if it's on the G drive, I don't think it's on the other one. Even if it is, who can't? This is a crisis. So here's what we're going to do at 3:45 into the clip. Right, American? So, here's the plan. Here's what I suggest Biden needs to do immediately. Step 1, have anyone, including himself, who helps and proofreads and prays about it, write a 5 to 10 minute speech. No more than 5 to 10 minutes. I recommend the sweet spot 4 to 7 minutes, and less is more, but even 10 minutes would be fine, as long as it's less is more and very thought out, even if you write it and you don't have him read it for 2 days. But here's what he says. He calls a conference. We don't know what it's about or whatever, right? The news is there to cover it. They're going to cover it. They don't quite know what it is, but the president has an announcement. What could it be? Now they're going to ask their questions afterwards, but of course he's not going to take any. He's going to walk off and just respectfully say what he says and walk off. Now, that's fair enough. And what he's going to say is, my fellow Americans, like, it has come to our attention that, and don't worry, you're going to wordsmith it later to make it, like, good. But here's just the full talking points in full. You can add whatever you want, but if you try to be partisan even a little, I'm certain, like, if there's even one little dig, that's unwise. All right? What you do, as you say, my fellow Americans, like, there are many crises, the war in Ukraine, blah, 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 the crisis and the war in, Israel. We're trying to keep it from a war. It's still a crisis. Everybody's doing the best. We don't manage them as much as we try to be diplomatic, but they are not us, and we are not them. We are Americans, and it has come to my attention that it is my job to protect both foreign and domestic. And all you need to do is look at the news, and you will notice that whatever the finger pointing, there are many, many people being threatened and being hurt and being killed in our country, on our soil, as we speak. Look at the papers, it's getting worse. There's so-and-so, da-da-da. It's not any group of people in particular. There are nuts on both sides of the aisle. There are nuts who have every skin color. There are nuts who are male. There are nuts who are female. There are nuts who are non-cis. There are many good people who are religious and non-religious alike. There are bad people who, we don't care if you're a Christian or an atheist or a Muslim or a Hindu or an agnostic or an atheist or a Jewish person or agnostic or a de jure or a Muslim or a Christian or anything else. We don't care. There is a separation of church and state. As such, I am reminded of what I said when I took the oath of office. I said that I was going to stop the divisiveness, that I was going to bring blah, 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 blah. And it's come to my attention, I came to the realization as I approached 3 years into, having the job, a 4-year term, that despite my best efforts, I have failed. Something is not right. And we intend to change it. Because there are people scared in our country. They're scared just to go for a walk. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter if they're here legally or non-legally. They're on our soil. And to those doing the threatening and the hurting, it doesn't matter if you're here legally or not legally, because you are on our soil. So moving forward, we're not going to take it. We're going to do better. The media is going to do better. All sides of the media are going to do better. We're going to cover it a little bit more, but you will see that we are turning over a bit of a new leaf, and we are cracking down on this violence, this domestic violence. It's not political. There are many people who identify as liberal or conservative or Trump voter or Biden voter. There are many who identify as unaffiliated or independent. There are many who identify as socialist. There are many who identify as pro-capitalist. There are many who identify blah, blah, blah. But we have laws. And even though you have free speech, you don't have the right to hurt people. Violence will not be tolerated in this country like it has been any longer. We've asked too much of certain people in our country and in the CIA for too long. And we have tried our best, but at this point, things have changed. And the world needs us to have a little bit more transparency than we have, as we've been all trying to fight some underlying evil in the world that really has nothing to do with any group of people in particular. It's just some kind of spiritual battle, if you will. But he wouldn't need to say that, something like that. And then he would say, we'll have more details coming, but rest assured, I want to assure every American, I intend to do better. I intend to honor my duty. If I get reelected, great. If I do not, great. It's not about that. But we have to grow up a little bit, and I can only hope that the press, the free press, will take it to heart, because they need to do their part to be a little less divisive. I said I was going to try and stop the divisiveness, and no political point or political angle is worth, people being afraid over such a thing. And unfortunately, with the state of affairs, instead of finger pointing at just the other side, we're going to point the finger at the other side, plus ourselves for once. And we'll try and work with them, and I'll try and honor what I said with my last year in office before the election, and then we'll see what happens with the election. But we're sick of this. I've been in touch with people on both sides of the aisle in Congress and also in the FBI and the CIA, and I just want to say to federal employees, or government employees, or bureaucrats, or people who are elected, you are American citizens, same as the ones who aren't. And the rules apply, just like I said. If you try to subvert the Constitution, if you try to threaten anybody, whether they're in government or not, if you try, you're going to be rounded up and punished. If you try to hurt someone who is in government and you're not in government, you'll be rounded up and punished. We're sick of this. You only need to read the papers. Maybe the Post, maybe the Times, maybe the WAPO, maybe the New York Post. There's plenty of instances. If you, even just in the past month, if you were to add up just these 5 papers and the amount of stories that they have told, you would understand there's a problem. And we're going to turn over a new leaf, and we're going to do a little bit better of a job addressing it. It's clear that defunding the police or people being above the law while also trying to pretend no one's above the law, that's a cop-out. And too many youngsters are being taught to be angry and that they're above the law, maybe. No, you're not. Neither are we. I'm being investigated. I'm not above the law. You're not above the law. And, whatever certain ideas, whether they were well-meaning or not, with some of these cities, I think on a federal level, we're not doing a good job with the oversight of, no, that person and that person's guilty of raping someone. They should not be out in like half a year, whereas, 45 is on the hook for 145 years when even at the rape trial, he was actually found not guilty of rape, with that woman. He was sexual assault. He was found guilty, but he was not found guilty. I mean, I know they use the talking point. You wouldn't have to say all that. But you got the idea. Something short and sweet. Then you also write the same script for 3 idiots on the news, on CNN, one on MSNBC, one for Hannity, right? And like Hannity would say after the speech or whatever, he would say that night, I'll tell you, I don't like Biden. You've heard me say it all the time. But, I got to give a little credit where credit is due. This guy's not tough. He's not tough on anything. But today, he kind of reminded me of what a president would do, how Trump would be tough or this guy would be tough. And, I respect what he said. It was a little bit more honest. And I'll give credit where credit is due. I say that. He said this. I want to pick it apart. Maybe I don't agree with it. But this sentiment, I hope he's telling the truth because honestly, that, good on him. I'm not going to attack him for it. I don't care what Tucker says. I think, good on him. So that's what he would say, right? Then, for Cooper or whoever on, CNN, right, you would have him say, his, version of it. You would even, have another actor who challenges him who's, upset, and then you do the roundtable discussion where the other guy, now listen, I think this guy is just upset. We got to take to heart a little bit that the president just challenged all Americans, let alone specifically cited the media. I really am. If we just play back how, those 2 lines there, that was a very important thing he was saying about the media in general. And now we're part of the media, and, everybody, we would be lying if we didn't say we all have our, biases, or each network has certain agendas or certain things to fulfill. We don't hide the fact that we have roundtable discussions in the morning about what news to cover or how to cover it. I mean, that's our job. But when the president starts saying this, clearly as a whole, I think, even us in the media who wield great power with a bully pulpit are being a little too divisive. And I think you just don't like that, even Biden is saying that. And that's really your problem because he's specifically challenged us in the media on all sides to do a little better with being nonpartisan because he doesn't control what we say, but we do. And the Constitution, he's very quick to point out the part about the Constitution, nobody's above the law, and even the part where he sort of makes peace with Trump even and the Republicans. He tries to extend the same courtesy to both sides have people doing this and both sides have people who don't. I think that's the more measured take to do here. right? And then, like, you make sure there's one idiot on MSNBC who, no matter what the other ones say, like, that one's going to be like Hannity with respect to what Biden said, I just got to give, Biden's not perfect. But I will say that that was one speech for blah, 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 blah. We know there's a war. We know there's all kinds of stuff. We know the CIA has been working overtime since the Patriot Act and 9/11 and da-da-da-da. Mistakes were made on both sides. You can say something smart. And they what, there's one silver lining from, all that war in Afghanistan for 20 years. I think certain, soldiers and, diplomats who are American and even some on the Taliban end are, out there. I think they learned to, understand something about each other after 20 years. And they even did. I mean, there's stories about it. And the blah, blah, blah. I know you just try to find common ground and, then you have nice people start writing some of these talking points for these people in the meantime with the, before you just tell the truth. Oh, yeah, there's psycho people of all types, trying to, hurt people. And I think we should cover that a little bit more, regardless of what their politics or their, skin color is. But just, the act itself. Lady Justice was blind. Can you play that part where he said Lady Justice was blind? And stuff like that. Just because no matter what, the ball can't get rolling with that until POTUS makes how intelligent of a very spirit of truth, very peaceful, very humble, I'm not above the law, and I'm not even saying I didn't make mistakes, or that Trump didn't, or that Obama didn't, but yet I'm trying to help all three of us, let alone some of us citizens, while assuring the other citizens, you're never going to get away with that again. On that level, what he doesn't actually say, you're never going to get away with it again. This is it. Stock up, buddy boy, right? That's it. All right? Something like that. Please do anything at all to do with, have a brain and get ahead of it so we can, make you're, Ray from Ghostbusters or something, right? And, we want to shoot the monster. So, just get out of the way. You go be dripping with the goo or whatever, right? And then I will shoot the, monster, whatever, Vigo guy, whatever. We're not scared of, the truth. We don't know what church stuff. We don't know. But with the state stuff is demonstrably clear. These people are saying this and doing this, threatening in the name of this or that, or Satan is it, or this one, or that one. I mean, we have a separation of church and state, and nobody is above the law. Discuss.